Hello, everyone. This is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of I the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful Rabbit Hole, Lauren Frey, and the upcoming Jaw the Dragon, releasing June 10th, 2023. And yes, this is indeed the long-awaited Black Cat Books Direct, the showcase in which I, the author of the books in question, talk about what's going on with Jaw the Dragon. It's what the book is going to be about, the general plot, some of the characters, and reveal some upcoming projects. So please stay tuned for all of that. So, Jaw of the Dragon is essentially an action novel featuring the protagonist of Eye of the Dragon, Jack, going up against 10 of the most dangerous killers in the world in one-on-one fights, right? From crazy shape-shifting werewolves to psychics to rats that summon demons. Jack fights it all in this one. It was designed inherently to take everything we love about shonen battle manga and anime and really kind of give an American kind of slant to it, right? With, more westernized concepts, more westernized characters, more westernized settings and ideas and concepts while blending it in with the stuff we enjoy from media like this. This is, I think, very much the polar opposite of Lauren Frey, which did not feature any fighting at all. Like, Jaw the Dragon is almost 100% fighting. Like, fight the entire way through across all these different characters. This is, I think, a very good showcase of just a little bit of the stuff I've developed for the Codyverse, as we're calling it at the moment. You see like Greek monsters, you see werewolves, you see vampires, you see people who hunt witches, you see psychics, you see crazy things, right? All sorts of depictions of these kinds of powers in an action setting, right? I've been calling this genre battle fantasy, right? This is my own take on the fantasy genre. I don't like calling it a new genre because it's essentially the same thing as shonen battle stuff, right? With Fist of the North Star, One Piece, Yu Yu Hakusho, that kind of thing. But it doesn't really have a category in American literature. So that's kind of what I've been classifying this as battle fantasy, something that really emphasizes the fantastic elements of these combat situations and all these characters and how they overcome each other and the challenges they create. This is the kind of stuff I really want to refine and really improve on, and I hope Jaw the Dragon will be the first in a long line of series like this, right? Obviously, Eye of the Dragon was a big step forward for me as well. Back then, I was focusing more on the world building and the characters and what I wanted to do creatively. And Jaw the Dragon is a lot more focused when it comes to on the action itself. So I think in that regard, Jaw the Dragon is kind of the book I wanted Eye of the Dragon to be to begin with, right? And I hope by the time the third book, Heart of the Dragon, comes along, we get to combine both aspects of the first two and really make something spectacular, right? As it stands right now, Jaw the Dragon is coming out June 10th, 2023, and it is a project I am very, very excited about. I hope very much that you enjoy it. Now, I actually have a couple more projects to announce today, right? I've already finished one, and I'm in the middle of producing a very special project, a project that I think the gamers in the audience will really appreciate. But first of all, a bit of an announcement. Clover, the Kindle Vella story that I've been slowly updating over the past year, was one of my big success stories of 2022. It was actually my big income earner when it comes to my writing content. I was really surprised by this because, I wrote Clover years ago and just kind of uploaded on Kindle Vella for a whim. But parts 1 through 3 of Clover were actually extremely successful. And actually, I actually still get quite a few hits on there, even when I'm not updating regularly. And now we're on the decline, right? We are at the point where part 3 is almost over, and Clover is essentially finished. It's done. The Kindle Vella story will be complete, and that will be the end of it. because I have decided to move away from Kindle Vella and release Clover Part 4 as a full-on novel experience published on February 12th, 2024, right? I'm in the process of editing Clover Part 4 now, Clover Volume 4, The Day of Black Sun right now, right? I am in the process of like really refining this and really making this book really shine. It is novel length, by the way. It is significantly longer than the first 3 parts. It will be an improved version of what I've already written. It will be like, as hopefully as good as Jaw of the Dragon is, in spite of its age, right? Clover is, I think, a project that I'm really interested in coming back to. I think, like, going back and looking through parts 1 through 3, I do think I'll probably make a few adjustments to them. I think I probably will put out like a definitive version. Like I'll probably like make up a proper origin story for the characters for part 1, compile part 1 and parts 1 and 2 into like a part 2, and then like have part 3 like expand on that and be more interesting. That's kind of what I'm thinking now, and like of course work on part 5 and like where I'm going from this. But right now, the way it's looking right now, I want to release Volume 4, The Day of Black Sun, as a standalone. For reasons being, I think it was the best out of the 4. It was the lengthiest. It has the most action. It has the best character moments. It's around the point where I felt like the characters really started like establishing themselves and really putting themselves out there as characters. The protagonist, Seele, is, of course, this was the first time she was ever really challenged, ever. Up to this point, she was very much an overpowered battle fantasy protagonist. But in this, she's actually up against people who are a match for her. And I think that really emphasizes her strength of character and like her positive aspects as a character, right? I think part 4, volume 4, more than any other part, really makes every character shine, and it is like a defining moment for all of the characters. And reading this again, reading all of Clover again, actually has really made me like really fired up about like continuing Clover and continuing the story after like 6 years. I of course finished Clover for the first time on January 17th. Was it the 21st? January 17th, 2017, right? It was like a couple of months before the Switch came out. I remember that pretty explicitly. I was incredibly proud of what I accomplished. At the time, I felt like I was never going to make anything as good, but of course that wasn't true. Of course, I put out I wrote Dearly Beloved, American Ninja, Lightning Ike, a bunch of books I've never actually published. Culminating in American Ninja, and then Eye of the Dragon, which of course I released, and then like Cruel and Beautiful, which I also released. Actually, Cruel and Beautiful came before Eye of the Dragon, but I wrote that before Eye of the Dragon, but published it later. So obviously, I actually do have like quite a few stockpiled books that haven't been released yet. I had no intention of releasing Clover first, but over the past year, I think it is time to like, because of how popular it was, I am very much interested in releasing Clover Volume 4, The Day of Black Sun. That being said, I do have one more announcement, one more final announcement. Clover Volume 4 is releasing on February 12th, 2024. Just this is the last reminder. I don't remember if I said that again. So, okay. Clover Volume 4 coming out February 12th, 2024. So I actually do have one final announcement in regards to my next project, something that I'm working on now, something that will release on August 14th, 2024, to celebrate the anniversary of a life-changing event. One of the most important events of my life, something that changed the course of history, something that means a lot to me as an individual, something that I need people to talk about more. And any way I could possibly make it happen to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of Gamergate, I am going to do it. And so I have decided that it is time to produce Vivian James, the Five Guys of Gamergate. Vivian James going up against corrupt game journalists, right? Of course, Vivian James is not a character I created. she is technically in the public domain. You can technically do whatever you want with her. So as a result of that, I conceptualized a form of the character in which she is an AVGN-like character who does nothing but play video games and get mad at game critics over the internet. And once they overstep their bounds, once they get start promoting a game that every actual gamer hates, something, an extremely overproduced, overhyped product that costs like $500 million and didn't live up to expectations, and then they try to damage control it. Like, Vivian is angry. Vivian James, stands up for the rights of gamers and starts a rebellion. And like 5 individuals, 5 high-profile game journalists, people in television, people in internet gaming news, people in like people in that sphere, like, try to rise up and muster all of their power, all of their influence, all of their control to try and stifle her as she leads this crusade against corrupt gaming journalists. This is, of course, loosely based on true events. It's not meant to be a one-on-one comparison to what actually happened with Gamergate, but it is meant to emphasize, how justified we were in our anger, right, when it came to what game journalists were up to 10 years ago or even today, right? This is going to be my representation about how I viewed the conflict through the lens of the Gamergate, through the lens of this character, right? It is something I'm very interested in seeing done really well, really creatively, and I think this could be a major thing in getting Gamergate back into the mainstream, getting people to talk about corrupt gaming journalism once again. It has always been a thing that has always stuck with me. It's always something I've been thinking about. It's something I've always been wanting to bring back, and I hope that Vivian James does deliver on that. 10 years later, after 10 years of seeing gaming journalists write off great video games or attacking Nintendo and trying all of this nonsense, it'll be an amazing experience to create something like this. A piece of media that outright depicts gaming journalists as being downright malicious and antagonist to the gamers who simply want to play video games. So this book, Vivian James, will release on August 14th, 2024, right? On the exact day that Gamergate occurred 10 years before, right? The day, I think, that Mr. Medicare uploaded that Internet Aristocrat uploaded that Five Guys video. We are gamers, okay? We're not going to stand for corrupt gaming journalism. We have never stood for corrupt gaming journalism. We will not allow them to continue doing what they've been doing for the past several years. And this book is going to be a reflection of that mindset and that attitude. It is a celebration of it. I hope that gamers everywhere love Vivian and continue to view her as an absolute icon in the gaming sphere.